Hello, everyone. A very good day to all of you. I hope you all are staying safe and healthy. I wish good health and happiness to you and your family. Welcome to this AD webinar where we'd like to talk about the delegation and why we need to back up our AD objects. And before I dive in, I would like to make a quick audio video check just to make sure are you able to hear me okay and are you able to see the screen. So please make use of the chat window and you can just go ahead and put in your comments if you're able to hear me okay and are you able to see my screen. All right, can you please confirm? Are you able to hear me okay and are you able to see my screen? Hello all again. I repeat, can I get a confirmation from you that are you able to hear me okay and are you able to see my screen? Please make use of the chat window. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Rafi. All right, perfect. So with that note, I would like to give a quick intro about me. My name is Sujit, and I am a product consultant with Manage Engine. And as a product consultant, I do two things. One, I actively participate in all the user conferences and seminars hosted by Manage Engine. And secondly, I do product implementation in customers' environment where I get to interact with administrators, understanding their requirements. So I have done implementation on small, medium, and large scale organization. So with that little experience, I have prepared this deck for you, and I have titled as Why AD Delegation Has to Be Non-Intrusive and the Need for Backing Up Your AD Objects. All right. So let me dive into the agenda. So it's going to be very simple. My agenda is very short. So first, I want to talk about delegating tasks instead of control and authority. And then I would like to talk about the backup and restore of AD objects seamlessly. Okay. No more recycle bin, getting into running PowerShell script, getting back into the recycle bin, identifying if there is an object available or enabling a recycle bin to see if that object is available there, or like you if you want to like what went wrong, you would like to restore back into its parental state. Do not worry, we have a tool that can help you restore your object to the previous best version. All right. To start off with, delegation has to be non-intrusive. So in this case, so as I take this session, in case if you have any questions, please make use of the chat window or you can use the Q&A session, which is on the Zoom. Just click on the Q&A and you can go ahead and put in your queries, put in your questions. And as I take the session, I'll be able to answer it for you, as well as at the end of the session, we will have a dedicated Q&A and I will be able to answer all your queries. Okay, coming back, delegation has to be non-intrusive. What do I mean by non-intrusive? The reason before I was part of Manage Engine, I was an Active Directory administrator working for a service-based organization. So when it comes to delegation model in the native Active Directory, it is only two ways: either like group-based delegation or going into delegation of control with your own custom task. So I would like to share a quick info with you all. So if you opt to look into this particular channel called Skyport, so Skyport is a channel where they take surveys among technology. So this channel recently conducted a survey with almost 500 administrators, asking them if their Active Directory is secure. And more than 50% replied to the survey saying it is very secure, and 33% replied saying it is moderately secured, and 2.9% replied saying it is not secured, and asking them what went wrong, like why is that your Active Directory not secured. And some of the common answers that we got is we have too many administrators in our Active Directory, not knowing who are the users part of my security group, and there are weak passwords in my organization. There are groups which does not have any members. There have been GPOs which has like policy on it, but it has been like not been linked to anywhere else. So there are a lot of things which is discussed by the administrators saying that their Active Directory is not secure. So we're not going to discuss on all this, but we're just going to highlight why do we need to have too many administrators in our Active Directory. If I would categorize in an organization, just my view on this. So we have an administrator, we have an HR team, we have a service desk team or a help desk team. Okay, and then maybe based on your organization, you will have an L1 support, L2 support, L3 support. So it goes on. So now we are targeting on the non-administrative users for whom you would like to help them do their day-to-day Active Directory tasks. Let that be user provisioning. If you say, I would like to delegate my user provisioning task to my HR team or my service desk team, they have to do the user creation. Or I have another set of team who will just take care of only the reset password and unlock account. If I have to do it in the native way, all right, obviously I have to elevate their user privilege in the Active Directory. You would agree with me on that. Or I would create a group, maybe reset password or unlock account. Maybe if that user is part of that particular group, obviously that user can log into the Active Directory and he or she can reset or unlock their account. Okay, and let me talk a few challenges on the native Active Directory. For that, I would like to take you to my lab setup, which is an 2012 R2 box. Give me one quick minute. All right, so this is my lab setup, which is a Windows Server 2012 R2 box. So as I told you, there are two models here in terms of native. In case if I want to make this user part of a particular, maybe if I want to give this particular user access to reset password or unlock account, I can make this user part of that particular group so that Nova can log into the native Active Directory and he can reset and unlock account. Okay. What if I say there is another way to the delegation of control? So I'm going to do it right away in case if I don't want you to play it in your end unless like you have the complete idea about it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a right click on the OU, okay, the IT OU. Click on delegate control. I'm going to click on next, okay, and I'm going to add a user here. I'm just going to pick up a user from my IT group. Okay, I'm just going to pick up this user. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a custom task delegation for this user. And you can watch me what I'm going to do here. I'm going to give this user read and write privilege on specific actions. And I'm going to click on next and I'm going to finish this. Okay, everything is done for Isaac Joe. Now let's see the effective access. So whatever you saw from my screen, all that I gave was a read and write privilege on a specific general property information. Now, if you would go back and see what are the additional privileges in terms of read and write he would get, how do I see that is just click on OU properties, meaning the ITOU properties, go into security, click on advanced, okay, click on effective access, select the user for whom I gave access. All right, Isaac Joe, I'm going to click on OK. And then now I'm going to view his effective access and I'm going to bring the screen. All right, now this will list out his effective access for which he has read and write privileges. For few, you can see like he doesn't have access, but if I would scroll down at the bottom, you can get to see for which are the action items which he has access, which he can read and write. Because one of the core risks when it comes to Active Directory is insider threat. Every organization has taken their part into it. So when it comes to delegation, how can I delegate my task without elevating a user's privilege in the Active Directory? So that's what I'm stressing on one word again and again, non-intrusive. Okay, so without elevating a user privilege on the Active Directory, I can make my users do their day-to-day Active Directory task. Okay, so and for this, like we have a tool, like we brought in a tool called ADManager Plus, which was launched 15 years ago. So this ADManager Plus is tool, when it was launched, it was only to manage Active Directory. Right now, this tool acts as a centralized repository that could manage your Active Directory, Office 365, Exchange, file server management, GPO management, everything under a single pane of glass. And as I told you, this is a management and a reporting solution. When it comes to reporting, it gives you the in-time information from your Active Directory, or if I would put that in another word, right from user provisioning till deprovisioning can be accomplished from this solution. All right. So taking that apart, so right now, as we are talking about the delegation model in the ADManager Plus, so as I'm stressing on non-intrusive, what do I mean by that again? So now let's say you have technicians in your organization. Without elevating their privilege, I want to do complete control and authority over them. Okay. Now in our case, let's try to take a user called HR. Okay. And I'm just going to create a role here. Okay, give it a minute. All right, I'm just going to name the role here, HR. And provisioning task. And if you could see here, you could see all the roles related to Active Directory management, Exchange management, Office 365 management, reports, administration, Microsoft 365 backup. So everything that you currently see in this module right now, I've logged in as a built-in admin account on ADManager Plus, so I get to see everything. Now, when you're trying to do a delegation, you get to choose, meaning like you can do role-based delegation. That is the core advantage. If you would see from the delegation of control on the native, I cannot be very specific. Okay, I want this particular action to be done by this user. I cannot derive that on the native tool, but here everything is crystal clear. You can come here, pick up and choose the role that you would like to assign for this user. In our case, if I want this technician to create single user, reset password, and unlock account. Now I've selected these roles here. And now if I would save this role and assign this role to a technician, now when the technician logs into ADManager Plus and his account is domain authenticated, all that the technician could see is create single user, reset password, and unlock account. Apart from these three actions, the user or the technician cannot see any other action item. So that's why we have role-based delegation. Right now, I've done it on the user management in case if you want this user to do computer management, group management, contact management, OU management, file server management, you can pick and choose the roles that you would like to assign for this user. And in terms of advantage over the native tool or whatever restriction granularity that we offer here, okay, in our case, I have given this user the access to create single user, but here I can also do attribute level restriction, meaning if you feel like there should be certain attributes for which I don't want this user to make any changes to it. Okay, in our case, the Office 365 attributes are sensitive information. You don't want them to make any or like mess around with Office 365 attribute. You can just directly go ahead and uncheck the Microsoft 365 attribute, meaning to whomever you would like to assign this role. And when they try to create an account and on the Microsoft 365 attribute, none of these attributes, they cannot make any changes to it. It would be visible for them, but it will be on a grayed out state. Okay, so you can do attribute level restriction. So I'm just going to save this role here. All right, and then I'm going to come back here into help this technician, and I'm going to add a technician here. Click on add new technician, and then I'm just going to pick up a user here. So I have a user called HR. I'm going to click on OK, and here I'm going to select the role which we created called HR provisioning. Done. And second restriction. So first I showed you attribute level restrictions. Second, in case if you want this technician or you want this user to have manage only specific OUs. Okay, so you can get to choose the OUs for which the technician should have access to. Okay, and coming back to the last one, impersonate as an admin. What do I mean by that? Now this would answer what do I meant by non-intrusive. The HR account which I added here is a domain account, is not a named technician. It's a domain account I have added here. And when I select impersonate as an admin, so when the account is initially configured, so here under the domain setting, we will have a service account configured there, meaning we would have provided a service account which has the read and write privileges, or using ADManager Plus if you want to create accounts or reset password. So whatever changes that you do, if that service account has that right and you have that account configured here under your domain setting, now impersonating as an admin, I'm sorry, I'll come back here to the delegation tab, add new technician, HR. going to pick up the role again. Done. So now when I mention impersonate as an admin, now this HR will log into ADManager Plus using his or her domain credentials. It's domain authenticated, and based on the role which we created, create an account, reset password, or unlock an account, it is not the HR's account which is making all those changes. It is the service account which is configured inside your domain setting which is making all the changes in your Active Directory. So that's what meant as impersonators admin. I am not elevating a user's privilege on the Active Directory. If you would ask me, okay, for this HR technician, you have created a role to create account, reset password. Can this same HR account create account, reset password, unlock even on the native Active Directory? And the answer is a big, bold no. So with the native Active Directory, this HR account will still remain as a normal domain user without any elevation. I hope you're with me. All right. I'm just going to save this role again here. So let's wait for it to save. And in case if you have any question, put that on the Q&A and I would be more than happy to answer it for you. I'm sorry, my product is taking its own sweet time to complete. All right, let's throw up an error. Maybe I'll try to add the account one more time. All right, successfully created. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out from the built-in admin account. All right, and then I'm going to come here, log in as the HR account here. Okay, it's domain credential. You can see it has been logging into my internal domain. So that's my domain name. And now I'm going to log in as this HR. Okay. Now, based on the role that we created, now this technician, all that the technician could do is create single user, reset password, and unlock account. Apart from these three, the technician cannot do any changes to it. Okay, so in our case, let's try to click on a create single user. Okay, let me try to pick up a template here, HR technician, and let's try to I'm just going to put first name, middle name, last name. Okay, the user belongs to finance department. I'm trying to create an account here. Okay, manager, and let me try to create an account. Okay, maybe I'll pick up system template here. It's throwing up an error. Okay. Okay. Okay, so using this account, we have once we successfully create the account, you might have another question to the same. Okay, now HR logged into ADManager Plus, did his day-to-day Active Directory tasks like creating an account, reset password, unlock account. Do I have a way to track what are the changes done by my HR technician? Because I explained that we do it in a non-intrusive way. It is the service account which is configured in ADManager Plus, which is doing all the changes in the Active Directory. How would I track all the changes done by each of my technician? Okay, so our product not only helps you to do a role-based delegation, helps you to create a restriction or granularity, we also track all the changes done by each of your technicians. So same under the delegation tab, we have something here called as audit report. Okay. And if you could see here on the audit report, it shows for all the technician. Now, if I want to be very specific, I just created this account. If I would click on OK on the HR, and this will show me all the changes or all the management actions done by my HR technician. And you get to see everything here. Let that be user creation, reset password, unlock. And this report, the audit report that you see here, can be scheduled and sent to your registered email address. And this report will remain in the archive, meaning it'll remain in the installation directory, and you can keep it as long as you want. You can manage the archives from the same place. Okay, so I would like to show a few more restriction over the native tool. Okay, so I'm just going to click on help this technician. I'm just going to edit the technician which we added. So far, we saw attribute level restriction, OU level restrictions. Okay, in our case, if you would say I would like to give this user to have access to particular template, or like doing the user provisioning, I want to create a specific template and I would like to assign this template for this user. Apart from that template, I don't want this technician to have access to any other template. You can be very specific, or you can granular down to which are the templates the technician should have access to it. So this is how you do it. Okay, few other things, maybe for an L2 technician or an L3 technician for whom you would like to give them access to manage groups of file servers, but you want to be very specific. Okay, I don't want them to have access to all the file servers, or I don't want them to have manage all the group or access to visibility to all the groups. I want them to have access only to a particular groups. You can predefine the groups under their profile, meaning they'll be able to see only those groups when it comes to anything which is related to group management. Maybe if you're giving them access to add or remove groups, or like group creation, so you can be very specific. The other way, in case if you feel like I want these users to have access to all the groups, but I would like to exclude certain groups, you can exclude those groups from their profile. And one more advantage is Microsoft 365 in terms of delegation. Okay, so in case if you're giving them access to assign Office 365 license, because every license cost, so you want to be very specific. I want to give them access to only to these license which they can assign for a user. When it comes to provisioning, you can predefine those license under their profile. So these are the restrictions and granularity which we offer. And one more thing which I mentioned on site, which we do a site-based delegation. So if your organization is geographically widespread and you have a certain technician who's located in America, another technician located in India, another location located in Brazil, another user located in London. So when these transactions are happening from each of your local admins, and you have added them as a technician here, so you want to be very specific. If there is a transaction being done by the administrator who's located in India, I want all those changes uh, to be replicated on the DC which is located in India. I can do that. If there is a local admin, if there is an admin who is located in America who's making any changes related to the organization in America, I want those changes to be done or replicated in a particular DC. Even I can do that. All right. So maybe I'm just going to save this here. Okay, and I'm just going to come back and I'm going to show you that piece too, site-based delegation. So this is what I was talking about. So you can pick up and choose the DCs based on your organization, based on a particular technician. When he does the changes on which particular DCs, the action has to get replicated. So this is our latest advancement, and we're trying to work more on based on their requirements. So we've been working on it. Maybe you can also play with it. If you're looking ADManager Plus for the very first time, okay, I would request you to like reach out to us, support@admanagerplus.com, or you can drop an email to me, sujit.s@manageengine.com. I can help you with a specialized demo, customized demo, where we'd like to give you a complete walkthrough about AD Manager Plus and help you set up the product, meaning we can do a proof of concept and it's based on your requirement, and then you can evaluate for 30 days, and then you can decide if you would like to procure the product. And for you who currently own AD Manager Plus, we wanted to help you use all the modules to the fullest so that it can help you manage your infrastructure in a better way. All right, so that's what I would like to cover here on the delegation piece. Moving ahead, uh, I would like to talk about the Active Directory backup and restore, and why is the need to have an Active Directory backup and restore. There are a lot of things that is involved here, but to be very specific, accidental modification and accidental deletion is something which we cannot restrict at all. But if you ask me, okay, we do have native tools which can do the job for us. I have PowerShell. I can retrieve information from my Active Directory. I have LDP utility. I have Active Directory Administrative Center. I have Recycle Bin if you are 2008 R2 and above. So we can think about Recycle Bin being enabled. And then if it is 2008 R2 or like below than that, so you would know when an object is completely deleted, you cannot restore all the attribute values back into its original state. Okay, so the challenges using the native tools, I have structured few here based on my knowledge. So there is no granular backup. Okay, I want to set, okay, because we keep hearing two backups, full backup, incremental backup. Maybe if you're working on that part, but there is no granular backup in there, or whatever is there inside your backup. I know like there's a backup happening somewhere in my infrastructure, in my recovery or in my recycle bin center. There is one server over the other server, but do I get the privilege to see what is inside that backup? I would like to review it. No, there is no multiple backup frequency. So if I would say I want my full backup to run on a daily basis or a weekly basis or a monthly basis, I don't have that option. And version comparison, let's say like I want to like see there is an accidental modification or an accident deletion that happened in my organization. I would like to review what change happened. Okay, I would like to review whatever backups that have been available in my organization. I would like to see what is the change happened for that particular object, okay, on those different dates, so that I can review and I could see which was the best version and I can restore them back. And it comes to data integrity, so when I try to do a backup or when I try to do a restore an object, okay, I want to enable a force replication just to make sure the object that I try to backup has the same value in all my domain controllers. Same ways, when I try to restore an object back into its original state, I want to make sure that value gets replicated to all the domain controllers. Okay, so I would like to talk about few more limitations. I think I've already covered on the previous slide, but to be very specific in terms of what did I meant by limitations on granular backup. With native backup and recovery, there is no granular backup, but here the Recovery Manager Plus, or like I would say AD Manager Plus backup. So that's an add-on on the AD Manager Plus, which offers you the flexibility to select the OUs, meaning we do object level backup. Okay, so you can get to choose the attributes, you get to choose the objects that you would like to backup. If you have custom attribute, if it is DNS, or like you want to like take a backup of your schema, all that can be done from the AD Manager Plus backup. And in terms of incremental backup, so there is no incremental backup in the native, so you would agree with me. So only the value. So when it comes, say, like if there is a value being changed in your organization, an account is getting created or account is getting modified, you're trying to run an incremental backup on the daily basis. This incremental backup, which AD Manager Plus offers you, whatever changes happens or like whatever change happened to an Active Directory object, it will capture those objects alone based on the USN value, and we capture that as on the incremental backup. Okay, so in terms of multiple backup frequency, so only daily and hourly backups are available on the native. So we offer you daily, weekly, monthly, best suiting your organization. Okay, and I've already highlighted that. So you cannot search what is inside your backup. Okay, and also in terms of version comparison, so you don't have the flexibility to view or compare values, whatever is inside your backup, and then you can restore back to the previous best point. Okay, so don't think bad, I'm completely against my native, but I would like to highlight what are the limitations using the native active, because looking into this limitation which our native offers, so we came up with a tool that can help you whenever there's an accidental modification or an accidental deletion that happens in your organization. So you have a go-to place which can help you restore an object to the previous best point. Okay, so have you ever gone through when an OU is accidentally deleted? So think about an OU will have its child OUs, an OU will have groups, computers, it would have contacts. Think about restoring all those together. So if you would like, if you would like to try, maybe if you have a test lab setup, try deleting a parent OU which has multiple sub OU child OUs and it has users computers, and then try to go the native way and try restoring an object, and you would know how long it would take for you to restore an object. But I'm going to show you in a very simple and easier way where this backup is the backup that we offer is way more effective than the native. And in terms of their configuration, is pretty straightforward. Okay. And if you currently own ADManager Plus and you don't see the backup module, meaning you're on a very old build, so I would advise you to upgrade your product to the latest build, which is 7100. And once you upgrade your product to the latest build, you will get to see the backup feature again. So as I told you, this is an add-on on the ADManager Plus. It would function. I wouldn't say it wouldn't function, but the backup license is based on number of users. So again, you are a licensed user, but you don't have the backup module, please reach out to sales@manageengine.com and they could give you an EVA license along with your current package so that you can evaluate it for 30 days, see how efficient this backup module is whenever there's an accidental modification or accidental deletion, so you can review and restore them to the previous best point efficiently. Enough of talking. Let's get into the point what we do offer here in terms of configuration. So in terms of configuration, pretty straightforward. Just click on setting as I told you, the backup and the restoration. So here we do object level backup, not bare metal recovery. I would like to repeat it. We do an object level backup here. So we get to choose the objects that you would like to backup, the attributes that you would like to backup here. Okay, and also when it comes to restoration, again, you can be very specific to the object or the attributes that you would like to restore them to the previous point. Okay, so first thing, you get to choose the OUs that you would like to backup. In case if you don't want to backup any specific OUs like disabled OUs, you can exclude them and then get to choose the objects that you would like to backup and its respective attributes. So DNS schema, everything you get to see here. And then the two types of backup, full backup, incremental backup. So you can get to choose on a monthly basis. And here on the incremental backup, you get to choose on a daily basis or a weekly basis. Once you set the time and come here, the last option, how many full backups that you would like to retain. So by default, we keep it 5. So based on your organization and the size of the server, that or the disk space of the server, you can choose like how many backups that you would like to retain. And answering to your question, I know it's invisible. So where are these backups are being stored? So we have a separate database for this backup. Okay, and that is called as Elastic Search Engine. So that's the database which we use on the backend. So where we compress all your Active Directory attributes and we store it on the Elastic Search Engine database. That's the ES database which is located on your installation directory. Okay, so if you have ADManager Plus and you see the backup module, you can just directly go to your installation directory, and if you see, there would be a folder called ES files, but you cannot see anything in that. It will be all in archived state. You cannot see anything from there on your naked eye. The only place where you can review what is inside your backup is the UI. Okay, so everything is set, the backup is set. And in terms of recovery, is nothing but when an object is being deleted and then you would like to restore a deleted object. Okay, so the one advantage that we get here is, so it would get restored to its original state, but when it comes to password, so you know there is no way where we can see what is a password being set for a user, but we give you the privilege to set a default password for a user when an account has been deleted and it's been like restored to the previous point. So you can set a default password and the account would get restored. Or if you leave it just like that, the account will restore back to its original state, but it will be on a disabled, the account will be on a disabled state. So you have to enable it and you would like to reset a password for that. So that is completely a native behavior. Okay. Coming back to the actions. So once all this has been configured, your full backup, incremental backup, everything is configured, you get to have a nice intuitive UI that will tell you how many backups do you have, how many incremental backups do you have, when do you have your next incremental backup or full backup, the total number of backups available. And in case if you performed any backup or you performed any restore operation, everything would be seen here under this dashboard. All right. Coming back to restore, there are two types of restore that I would like to show to you or I would like to highlight to you. So we have simple restore and we have granular restore. Let me tell you the difference. So If there is an accidental modification or an accidental deletion, and you know there is a change happened, and if you know the date range, when did that change occur? So here I'm being very specific to this particular date. And if I would see this user called Daniel Smith, there are 19 changes for this user, meaning the account got created. So here, when I highlight it, this will tell me his current value and backup value. It looks almost the same because when the account was created, when I performed a full backup, both the values would remain the same. Okay. Maybe if I would choose a different date range here, let me close this. Okay. I'm just going to come back here to March. Maybe I'll just set. Okay. I have some users here. Maybe I'll just pick up a user here. Okay. I have a user call. Maybe I'll pick my user here. Let me be the lab rat today. Okay, I have a user, Sujit, and I see there are 24 changes done on user on this particular date range. So I get to see what were those changes. So I can get to see his current value in the Active Directory and his backup value in the Active Directory. So I can just go ahead and review all those changes. If everything seems to be okay, I can just directly go ahead and click on restore to the previous best version. So it'll go to its backup state. Now, if I feel like I'm not very specific, I would like to see all the backups available for Sujit. Okay, I would like to review and see what were the changes done on each of this backup, or what are the changes captured in each of this backup. And then I would like to restore them to the previous best version. One way, I know a date range here and I know this object, I get to see, or I could get to review the current value, backup value, or the previous backup value. Now, in case if I would see all the backups that's available for Sujit, then what I would do is I will, from simple, I will just navigate to granular restore. Okay. Again, I'm just going to click on this filter. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to search for this user called Sujit again. Okay. And here I get to see there are 4 backups available for this user. Now I get to see what are those 4 backups. So the first backup when he was actually created, and then there was some 24 changes done on the second backup. And then on the third, his account was completely deleted. And then on the fourth backup, I get to see that his object got restored to the previous backup value. Now, if you see the member of on the backup, he was only be part of only 5 groups, but on the current value, he is member of 10 other additional groups. Okay, so now that's a chaotic information. So, or if I would say I want to be very specific, so this is something I want them to restore to the previous object value. I can select those attributes alone, and then I can restore them to the previous backup point. Simple as that. Okay, maybe I'll just show you my lab setup for one quick minute. Okay, I have my. Okay, so I'm just going to close this here. Okay, I have a user. So what I'm going to do here is, let's try to take this user, this particular OU. Okay, let me see if it has accidental deletion enabled. Okay, it's not available. Maybe if there is any other OUs inside this. Okay, just gonna show it to you in real time. I'm just gonna do a right click, delete this entire OU. It's gone. There is no ITOU available on my native setup. Okay, and I'm gonna come back here to ADManager Plus. Okay, what I'm going to do is, I know there will be an incremental backup, or I know there will be a full backup that's going to initiate, but I'm just going to manually initiate a backup here. Let's see if it's getting initiated. Okay, backup has been initiated. And if you scroll down, you can see an incremental backup has been initiated. So I deleted an entire OU. So it has child OU, it had users, computers, it had groups inside that. Now, if I have to, I accidentally deleted. Now, if I have to restore and if I would think the native way, and you know the pain, how long it's going to take for you to, because if you haven't tried it, I would advise you to just, if you have a lab setup, just try deleting an OU and then try to restore them to the previous backup point, and you know how much time it, because you have to first restore the parent OU first, and then you have to come child OU, and again you have to come restore the parent OU and its respective child OU. So it's going to take ever for you to do it. Now, as this is running on the progress, okay, so it's verifying all the links. It's going to take little time. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come here to the restore option. Okay. So now in quite some time, you could see the ITOU which we deleted will be highlighted here. Okay. It's going to take some time. Maybe in the meantime, maybe I'll just discuss about the other limitations that we saw in terms of restoration. So the need is like whenever there's an deletion and you're talking about restoration, if I would say complete restoration, and if the environment is 2008 R2 and below that, I would say most of your attributes cannot be restored in your domain. But here on the backup module, so we offer a complete restoration. So whatever attributes the user had or that particular object had, everything along with their permissions, they would get restored back into its original state. And in terms of hierarchical restore, so you have to, in our case, like I deleted a parent a complete OU. So in the native way, first I have to restore the parent object first and then restoring the child objects. But here I don't have to do anything. All that I have to do is just right click on the OU that I deleted, and when I do restore, along with the parent OU, whatever child OUs it had and its respective objects, everything would be restored back into its previous point. Okay, and searching a deleted object, okay, it's very complicated in the native tool. Like you have to use other tools to find restore objects. You can run a PowerShell query to identify the objects which are in the deleted state, but here identifying a deleted object is very easy. It will be highlighted in red, and if you choose a particular date range and you want to know if an object got deleted in that particular date range, it will, you can see an object that will be on the red in color, which will tell, okay, this object has been deleted, so that you can restore them back to the previous point if necessary. Okay. Okay, and then in terms of restore and rollback, as I told you, you get the option to preview. Okay, what would you like to restore back to that point? Is that like you would like to restore all the attributes on that particular object, or you want to be very specific? I would like to restore only these attributes alone. You can choose and then you can restore them. And here, when it comes to recovery, okay, when I clicked on recovery, I would like to restore an object. No more I require to restart a DC for me to perform that action. But here it's very pretty, or I would say it's pretty simple. Select the object that got modified or deleted, and then you can restore them to the point. Okay. So let me try to see if it has been successfully done. Okay, I see it has been successfully done. Maybe if I would come here to the restore option, you get to see the object that we got deleted is highlighted in red in color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this OU, okay, which I restored, and then I'm going to click on restore to the previous backup value. Just click on OK. That's it. So now you can just sit, relax, and watch the object being restored back into here. So now if you go to the backup summary and if you click on the restore operations, so you can see it got initiated. Now, if I would slowly come here to my native, if I would keep refreshing, it'll take some time, but maybe at least I want to show you how it's going to work. You get to see the OU has been created. Slowly, along with that, whatever sub OUs or whatever objects it had, it'll start creating on them. It is a pretty easy and simple way. So now maybe you would have at least got an understanding why we need a backup and recovery tool, because there is always accidental deletion, there is always accidental modification that is happening in your environment. So if you have a go-to place which can tell you what got changed in that particular time, so that you can review, so that and you can restore them back to your previous best version. And summing up that, so when it comes to delegation, another important perspective in terms of Active Directory security, having too many administrators. So ADManager Plus can help you limit that, and you can still have your technician, your non-administrative users doing their day-to-day routine tasks without having an elevated privileges on the Active Directory. All right. So that's all from my end. In case if you have any questions or any materials that you would need related to AD Manager Plus, so you got my mail there, sujit.s@manageengine.com, and you can drop an email to me. And so that's all from my end. Thank you all again for hearing me, and please stay connected and please stay safe, stay sanitized. Things are being really chaotic outside and uncertain, so we have to all have to be prepared for it. So take all the remedy that needs to be, and please don't step out unless it is necessary. All right. So before I will let you all go, I have a poll that I would like to launch on your screen, just to know, like, how do you know Manage Engine, AD Manager Plus, or any of the solution. And I have one more thing that I would like to run on your screen, would be the survey poll. So I hope I delivered to you. In case, like, if you have anything that you would like to convey, please do let us know. All right. Thank you all again for hearing me. I'll be available for like another 15 minutes, so you can shoot in all your queries on your Q&A box, and I would be more than happy to answer it for you. Thank you all again. Stay safe, stay sanitized, and stay masked. Have a wonderful day. Please take care.